I could talk for a long time about this series in particular and how its characters pulled me in, but it's too late. Those things went unsaid for too long. Neru didn't get the chance to bask in that love while it was here. Maybe if it had, it would have been able to endure a little longer. With that in mind, let's look not at the last cancellation, but at the next cancellations. Let's look at the current lineup of Jump. If we go to the official Manga Plus website and list in order of hotness, let's see what we find. And I'll also throw out my reading list for Shounen Jump, not just to flex how many weekly titles I read, but also to explain why I might not mention certain titles later in this video. Mainly gonna focus on stuff I've been reading for obvious reasons. Black Clover looks like it would be the favorite for a soft cancellation, either that or My Hero Academia. These may not seem like the obvious choice, I understand. Might seem unlikely, but hey, it happened to Bleach, it happened to Toriko, it happened to Seven Deadly Sins, Karate Shikoshi, Kohinata Minoru, and these weren't Jump titles, but they were fairly big titles in their own magazines. This does happen fairly often, so I wouldn't be surprised if anything got axed, honestly. I pick Black Clover and My Hero Academia out specifically because, as you can see, Spy Family has overtaken My Hero Academia and even Boruto and Super. The new anime has cross-promoted the manga, leading to a surge in popularity, as we would expect. For a long time on this website, One Piece, My Hero Academia, Boruto, and Super have had a stranglehold on the top 3 spots. So this is a clear sign of a new title outshining an older veteran in terms of popularity. And in Black Clover's case, things are much more dire. At time of writing, Black Clover is ranked 33rd, just above the re-edition of Bleach, and it's even below all of the new titles in Jump and Ayashimon, which was axed over a month ago. I definitely feel like Black Clover is going to be given a deadline pretty soon. Black Clover and My Hero Academia are also near spots in the story that could potentially be endpoints, which makes them more appealing to the executioner. Listen, I'm not happy about this. Yes, Black Clover is a Naruto ripoff, but I like Naruto. I don't wish ill upon Black Clover. Let me tell you what I do actually hope gets cancelled. First, Mashley, Magic, and Muscles. Who the hell greenlit this One Punch Man meets Hogwarts bullspit? Because when I fell in love with One Punch Man, I was really thinking, this would work great as a series, it just needs less consistency and more gags. And don't get me started on 6PP Man. I still can hardly believe someone pitched the world's best pianist fathers septuplets and they kinda compete with each other, and Shounen Jump of all magazines said, hell yeah, I'll pick that up. Maybe if this series gets an anime adaptation it'll do something for me. The aesthetic of the art is at least a little interesting, but the story could really do with some music, believe it or not. But hey, if food manga exists even though you can't taste the food, maybe this idea isn't so ill-conceived. Also, Nana was a manga. This definitely isn't the most poorly conceived manga on this list. We'll get to that next. The gold medal for the biggest stinker currently in the magazine easily goes to Ron Kaminohashi, Deranged Detective. We had I Tell C, an actually interesting detective story, and we let that get axed in favor of the stupidest continuation of a Sherlock Holmes story ever conceived by man? Even the time Sherlock personally went to the 22nd century was less dumb than this. These 3 series are basically my most hated stories in Jump right now, but for whatever inexplicable reason, all of these seem to be popular enough to have avoided cancellation thus far, and I've lost the will to fight them. I'll just begrudgingly live with them as part of my community until their natural deaths, like feuding senior citizens in an old folks' home. What's on the chopping block? Part of the reason I'm doing this is just to signal boost some of my favorite new stuff. Life as a Jump magazine fan means knowing that any of your beloved series could die at any minute. Let's try to grant them a stay of execution. Let's start again with the veteran mangaka. We do have Sui Ishida leading Chojin X. The author of Tokyo Ghoul is very much staying in his lane with a story about humans being turned into a semi-secret, monstrous new species with bizarre and threatening powers. This did have a bit of hype behind it when it came out, so I don't think Jump wants to axe it. They seem to have a good relationship with the mangaka, allowing him to more or less make his own release schedule. Ikeda Akihisa also has a series by the name of Ghost Reaper Girl. She did Rosario plus Vampire, which I actually have watched almost a full season of that. This is also a sort of supernatural thing, taken to what many authors and lore crafters consider to be the logical end, the Lovecraftian mythos. We're not going to talk about Lovecraft right now. This is a series that is pretty modernized. I've noticed a lot of stuff in Jump right now functions like a video game, including this. Obviously, Jujutsu Kaisen does as well, but then there was Dr. Stone. Samurai 8 was highly digitized, but not really video game, you know? I feel like there are more recent examples I'm forgetting, so feel free to help me out in the comments. Moving on, we have the current title, The Kaijiki Chef, Divine Cuisine by Sanami Suzuki. Black Rock Shooter did have a bit of a cult following, so I feel like this one merits a shout out, although I don't have much to say about it. It's not the first thing to combine food manga with battle shonen. I guess it has more of a seafood vibe. I will admit the main characters are quite adorable as a couple, and I wish them the best. I could see this one getting axed though. It is at 24 chapters right now, so maybe it'll be more of a soft cancel. They might just rush right to the final battle and give us a one-chapter epilogue, like so many series before this. Looking at you, Shugamaru. But hopefully this one will stick around for a while. It does at least have some charm. And of course, we have the mangaka who brought us Bobobo, Yusei Matsui. Amazingly, he's doing a war manga called The Elusive Samurai, about a young general who finds virtue in fleeing. This is one that has gotten better with time, and it was pretty promising to begin with. On top of that, it's filling something of a niche in Jump, as they don't have any other series about war. Unless you count One Piece. That's it for veterans, but a lot of the new series in Jump are being authored by young mangaka who formerly worked as assistants for bigger titles, which is to be expected. Hideo Shinkai, Earthchild's mangaka, worked on JoJo's. Masaoki Shindo, the mangaka behind Ruri Dragon, was an assistant for Demon Slayer. I feel like this could be the result of mangaka seeing their assistants' work and thinking, wow, this guy's better than me, which is a cute mental image. Definitely true in Shindo's case. More surprisingly, I've noticed that there are a lot of duos. Many mangaka are teaming up with Gensakusha as well as their peers to bring us some beautiful titles backed up by some intriguing concepts. I wonder if this has become more popular as a result of the success of Death Note. Speaking of Oba and Obata, Jump always has to have a new thing that readers will accuse of trying to be Death Note. Recently it was Dr. Stone in The Promised Neverland. In this latest case, the comparison is practically invited by the way the series presents itself. Like Light Yagami, Q Sagarada has the appearance of a totally typical Japanese boy, but due to his genius, he finds his studies boring. And like L, Q goes by a single letter as his name. In his case, Q. There's also the fact that the title is named after the supernatural alien technology that the main character happens to find. It clearly has a lot of Death Note in its DNA. Not that I personally have a problem with anyone aspiring to write something as great as Death Note. Super Smartphone is a pretty fun series, but some vocal readers seem skeptical that it will live up to titles like TPN and Death Note. It's like they really want to be the first ones to be wrong. I think it might have to do with the stupid title, but I assure you this is good. This is a good title. Well, the title's not good, but the series is... You know what I mean. I think it lives up to the Death Note comparison so far. I have a rule against getting too attached to anything before it hits 10 chapters, but in this case I couldn't help myself. I desperately want to see this series play out, and if it gets axed to 20 chapters, I will be very, very sad. I don't think it'll happen, but I've been wrong before. So you might be able to tell by now that we've made it to the titles that I'm seriously excited about. Up next, we have Magilumiere Company Limited, another series led by a duo. It seems like they just teamed up two of the best artists from Jump Plus for this one. I haven't read either of their previous works, but they really came together and made something special here. I personally am into the magical girl phenomenon, but I want it to be more about the monster fighting. So this is the manga for weirdos like me. But it also has some pretty intriguing corporate politics going on, and the corporate nature of magical girls in the setting allows for some cool thematic deconstruction of the genre. This is another title where the characters shine through. I'm personally rooting for an anime adaptation for this title, which will, with any luck, end up doing better than the Promised Neverland anime did. That's another unique anxiety we manga fans have that's less analogous to death. Our favorite series might do so well that it gets adapted, but then we might dislike that anime adaptation. It's like witnessing a successful loved one get misrepresented in the press or something. Anyway. Monster Number 8 is far from a new title at this point. In fact, its second anniversary in the magazine is coming up soon. That may be surprising to hear for some new fans who realize the manga only has 66 chapters, but this is because the series has had some hiatuses and delays pretty much between every other chapter. What's amazing is readers aren't even upset by it. The manga is so high quality that people are actually willing to wait, which is very nice to see in this industry. Not so surprising because this is a highly refreshing title. Even from the first chapter, having an aging protagonist sets this series apart in a magazine full of young characters meant to reflect the audience. And him taking this last chance to fulfill his promise, however late, it's all very shonen. This is one of the most exciting titles in Jump, bar none. It would possibly have an anime adaptation by now if not for the slow update schedule. But then again, we're still waiting for Chainsaw Man, aren't we? Coming out sometime this year, they promise. I'm also pretty excited for Doron Dororon. I'm glad Jump has something with swords in it that isn't lame. However, I do feel like Bleach is rolling in its grave. Why do none of the new sword anime have cool, original powers for each weapon? That was a great idea. But ultimately, I'm excited for this title for a few reasons. The three main characters are all lovely, especially her. It's also made it past the 25 chapter mark, so I feel confident that Jump is going to let it play out for a while longer. It reminds me somewhat of Monster Number 8 in that regard, among others, but without the frequent breaks. The main character uses the power system of the enemy but joins the police force run by humans and has to try to be accepted by them. Another thing that this series, Demon Slayer, and even Monster Number 8 all owe to Bleach, by the way. But yeah, it's actually doing a good job of sticking to weekly updates, even though Jump has been much less strict about that with most of its titles lately. Most Jump titles have been getting regular weeks off about once a month, which, it's about time. Last but not least, we have my absolute favorite manga of the quote-unquote younger manga, the one that I'm most unreservedly excited about, Koji Miura's Blue Box. This is an exceptionally charming and fairly immersive romance about a basketball player and a badminton player. I might just like this series so much because I'm in love with Chinatsu, but Taiki is also a pretty cool guy. Look at me, I'm casually referring to the characters like we're good friends. It has a lot of the appeal of something like Haikyuu, which I believe it's meant to replace, with the addition of an excellent romantic story that manages a series of twists without feeling contrived or pointless. If you're in the Discord, you know I've been ranting and raving about this one for over a year now. This series has made it to 58 chapters, so it's pretty secure. Absolutely a title to watch, and one I sincerely hope we get to spend as much time with as the mangaka intends. I think it would go without saying, but I will admit that the stuff I'm most excited about in Jump is always Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, and One Piece. I am but a boy at heart, and I like to see anime wizards punch each other. Aside from My Hero Academia, I don't think any of those really warrant a mention in this video, but since this is also kind of an overview of what I'm reading in Jump, I just thought I'd give them a little shout out at the end. I thought about entertaining the idea that One Piece might get a soft cancellation where they say, "Okay, Oda, you have 300 chapters, wrap it up, buddy." But then I thought about how insane the editing staff at Jump would have to be to ever do that. I think these titles are probably going to be allowed to do as they please, which is great for me as a fan. Manga truly does hold a special place in my heart, so this video was fun to do. Let me know if you guys want to hear more discussion about Jump or other magazines, or even specific titles that you guys want to hear about. I feel like I'm always talking at you guys. Why is that? Could it be the one-sided nature of YouTube as a platform? Guess we'll never know. But we want to hear more from you guys in the comments. Oh, by the way, I got a new job. But we're still going to be trying to put out more and better content than ever before. Thanks to everyone for the support. Be sure to show Hoodie's new comic, King's Way, some love. I also want to give an extra special shout out to our supporters at patreon.com/KatoYT. Thank you all for listening to my dumb rants. Subscribe for more.